Yellowstone National Park is known for its beauty, but it is also a place of danger. Over the years, many visitors have lost their lives in ways that are shocking and tragic. In this video, we'll look at 5 of the worst deaths in Yellowstone's history. Real stories of people who made one wrong move or were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was June 4th, 2017, in the remote West Fork Beaver Creek area near West Yellowstone, Montana. Mike Peterson, a 42-year-old father of 4 from Bismarck, North Dakota, set out on a hike, continuing his search for the elusive forest fen treasure. A seasoned outdoorsman, Mike had explored rugged terrain before, confident in his survival skills. That morning, he kissed his girlfriend Bonnie Senger goodbye at the trailhead, dressed in an orange vest and waders, carrying a gun, bear spray, and enough supplies for the day. Mike and Bonnie planned to meet back at the trailhead by 6 p.m., but when Bonnie arrived, Mike was nowhere to be seen. As time passed, her concern grew. Around 7:20 p.m., she heard 4 gunshots from the woods. Thinking it was Mike signaling, she waited, expecting him to return. But as darkness fell, there was still no sign of him. By 8 p.m., she drove to find cellular service and called authorities. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office launched a search at 10 p.m., deploying ground teams, sniffer dogs, and helicopters with infrared technology. Early the next day, searchers found some of Mike's belongings, a bright orange vest and bear spray half a mile from the creek. Later, his backpack and gun were discovered, but there was still no trace of him. As the search continued, Bonnie recalled an odd encounter from the night before. After hearing the gunshots, she met a group of men who claimed they had heard them too. She described them as friendly and said they had gone back into the woods to look for Mike but found nothing. However, Valerie, Mike's daughter, found Bonnie's account suspicious. The men had claimed to be bear hunters, but hunting bears in Yellowstone was illegal. Valerie also questioned why they hadn't seen a bear if they were indeed hunting. Mike's family struggled to make sense of his disappearance. He was always careful in the wilderness, and it seemed odd that he would leave behind his gear, especially in bear country. Theories began circulating. Was it really just an accident, or was something else at play? 3 days later, on June 7th, search teams found Mike's body in the creek, about a quarter mile from where his belongings had been discovered. Authorities concluded that he likely drowned while crossing the fast-moving water, swollen from spring snowmelt. Gallatin County Sheriff's Captain Jason Jarrett explained that even experienced hikers can misjudge the power of rushing water. Mike's brother, Mac Peterson, rushed to Montana upon hearing the news. He revealed that just days before, Mike had told his family he was in Denver for a wedding, concealing his real plans. Mike had a habit of keeping his treasure hunts a secret, possibly to avoid worrying his loved ones. While the sheriff's office ruled Mike's death as an accident, his family remained unconvinced. Valerie, in particular, believed something more had happened. She felt that Bonnie wasn't telling the full story, and that the so-called bear hunters were suspicious. But with no concrete evidence, the case was officially closed. Mike had been searching for the famous forest fen treasure, a chest filled with gold and valuables hidden by the millionaire art dealer. Many had risked their lives for the hunt, and Mike was among those who never made it back. The treasure, hidden somewhere between Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the Canadian border, was eventually found in 2020, but not before several adventurers had vanished or died trying to claim it. To this day, questions remain. Was Mike's death truly a tragic accident, or did something else happen in those woods? His family may never get the answers they seek, but one thing is certain. His love for adventure and the thrill of discovery cost him everything. It was Sunday morning, August 17, 2014, when 8-year-old Zahra Al-Ayari from Poway, California, lost her life in a tragic accident at Yellowstone National Park. She had been hiking with her family along the brink of the Lower Falls Observation Trail, a popular path that offers breathtaking views of the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. The trail, though well-traveled, is also dangerous, with steep cliffs and narrow paths that require caution. Unfortunately for Zahra, this day would take a devastating turn. Zahra was an adventurous and curious young girl who loved exploring. As she and her family made their way along the trail, she stepped off the marked path onto unstable ground. In an instant, she lost her footing. The loose earth beneath her gave way and she slipped. Before anyone could react, she tumbled down the steep slope, falling more than 500 feet into the canyon below. Her family and other hikers could only watch in shock as she disappeared from view. The terrain was rugged with jagged cliffs and dense vegetation, making it impossible for anyone to reach her. The fall was devastating, and there was nothing anyone could do. Yellowstone's emergency response team was called immediately. Given the canyon's depth and harsh landscape, a standard rescue was out of the question. A specialized team was brought in, and rescuers had to rappel down from a helicopter to recover her body. Despite their efforts, Zara did not survive. Sadly, Zara wasn't the only person to lose their life in Yellowstone that week. Just days before, 22-year-old Darian Laddie from Georgia drowned in the Yellowstone River. He had been tubing with friends when he got separated from his inner tube. Without a life jacket, he was unable to fight the current. Search teams later found his body pinned under a rock a quarter-mile downstream. These tragedies were a harsh reminder of the hidden dangers within Yellowstone's stunning landscape. The park, while beautiful, has unpredictable terrain and natural elements that can turn deadly in an instant. For Zara's family, the loss was unimaginable. Back home in Poway, her classmates and teachers at Pomerado Elementary School were deeply affected. She was supposed to start 4th grade just days after the accident. Her best friend Kirsten Newkirk had even brought back a bookmark from South Korea as a surprise gift for Zara, a gift she would never get to give. Kirsten described Zara as the sister she never had, recalling their shared lunches, study sessions, and countless memories. The news of her passing was difficult to process for everyone who knew her. To support grieving students, counselors were made available at her school. The Poway Unified School District also held a moment of silence in her honor. Zara's death left a lasting impact not only on her family and friends, but also on those who heard her story. While millions visit Yellowstone every year, it's easy to forget how unpredictable nature can be. National parks offer incredible experiences, but they also demand caution and respect. Trails can be dangerous, rivers can be unpredictable, and accidents can happen in an instant. Her family will always carry the pain of losing her, but they also hold on to the love and joy she brought into their lives. Zara's classmates, teachers, and friends will never forget her. Though her life was tragically cut short, her memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew her. Her story serves as a reminder to all who visit these wild places. Always stay alert, follow safety guidelines, and never underestimate the power of nature. While Yellowstone's beauty attracts millions, it is also a place where the unexpected can happen. For Zara, her trip to Yellowstone was meant to be an adventure with her family. Instead, it ended in heartbreak. On March 23, 2022, 40-year-old Craig Cloitre set out on a hike in Paradise Valley, Montana, a rugged and remote area near Yellowstone National Park. Craig, a father of 4, had lived in Montana for over 20 years and was passionate about the outdoors. He loved hiking, ice climbing, and exploring nature. That day, he and a friend ventured into the 6 Mile Creek area, likely searching for shed antlers, an activity common among outdoor enthusiasts. They agreed to separate and meet back at their vehicle later, but Craig never made it back. When his friend reached their meeting point and Craig wasn't there, he immediately called authorities. Search teams, including helicopters, scoured the steep and forested terrain of the Absaroka Mountains, determined to find him. 2 days later, on March 25th, rescuers discovered his remains. Authorities confirmed that Craig had a fatal encounter with a grizzly bear. Park County Sheriff Brad Bickler delivered the heartbreaking news. It is with a very heavy heart that I am writing this update. After an extensive search, we have located Craig. It appears he had an encounter with a grizzly and unfortunately did not survive. Please keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. His wife Jamie and their 4 children were devastated. Just 2 years earlier, they had lost nearly everything in a house fire. Craig had been rebuilding their home, working hard to restore stability for his family. Now another tragedy had struck. Jamie shared her grief online. I loved him with every fiber of me. He was a vital part of our family, and it is going to be a struggle for the rest of our lives. To say we are broken is an understatement. The Livingston, Montana community came together to support the Cloitre family. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers donated to a GoFundMe campaign, which quickly raised over $100,000. Craig's love for the outdoors started early. Growing up in Massachusetts, he hiked Mount Washington in New Hampshire by the age of 6. but Montana became his true home. He worked at the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center, where he educated visitors about wildlife. He was experienced in navigating the wilderness and understood the risks of grizzly country. However, nothing could have prepared him for what happened that day. The 6 Mile Creek area where Craig was found is deep in Paradise Valley. The dense forests and mountainous terrain make it a habitat for many wild animals, including grizzlies. While fatal encounters are rare, they do happen. Since 2010, at least 8 people have lost their lives to grizzly attacks in the Yellowstone region. Authorities determined that Craig's situation was not a case of a bear actively seeking him out, but rather an unfortunate encounter. Sheriff Bickler clarified, "It wasn't like the bear came down into a campground and took someone." Wildlife officials investigated the scene, collecting hair samples to confirm it was a grizzly. Since the event was considered accidental, there was no effort to track down the bear. Jamie knew Craig understood the dangers of the wilderness. In an interview, she said, "Craig loved being in wild places and knew the risks." He had climbed some of the highest peaks in the West, including Montana's and Idaho's 12,000-foot mountains and Utah's 13,000-foot summits. He had been planning more adventures, including a trip to the Wind River Range. He didn't just love the outdoors, he lived for it. His work at the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center reflected his passion for wildlife education. He shared knowledge with visitors, helping them understand the balance between humans and nature. His loss deeply affected the Livingston community. Friends and colleagues remembered him as a strong and kind person. Ann Tanner, a close friend, spoke about the challenges he had overcome. "He was finally just getting their house together," she said, referring to their recovery after the fire. She expressed disbelief, adding, "I can't believe he would lose his life in the wilderness. He was so strong and smart." Jamie summed up the pain of losing Craig with a heartbreaking statement. "There is no one else like him in the entire world. We all lost something, and the world is a much dimmer place without him." As the days passed, donations continued to pour into the GoFundMe campaign. By the end of March 2022, more than $102,000 had been raised to support his grieving family. Craig's life was filled with adventure, love, and dedication to his family. He left behind a legacy of resilience and kindness. Though he is gone, his story continues to inspire those who knew him to embrace life with the same passion he did. It was June 7, 2016, when 23-year-old Colin Nathaniel Scott and his sister Sable arrived at Yellowstone National Park. They were eager to explore its famous landscapes, but their visit took a tragic turn. Colin and Sable were experienced nature lovers, drawn to adventure. That day, they entered the Norris Geyser Basin, one of the park's most dangerous thermal areas. The basin is filled with boiling hot springs and acidic waters, some reaching over 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite clear warnings, they decided to step off the designated boardwalk, a choice that would have devastating consequences. Their goal was to try hot potting, an illegal and highly dangerous practice of soaking in the park's thermal pools. While searching for a spring, Colin accidentally stepped onto unstable ground, lost his footing, and fell into a scalding, acidic hot spring. Sable watched in horror as he disappeared into the steaming water. She immediately ran to find help, but the remote location made it difficult to get assistance quickly. By the time park rangers arrived, the situation was already beyond hope. The rangers located the spring where Colin had fallen, but the extreme heat and acidity had already dissolved his body. They found only a few personal belongings, such as his wallet and flip-flops. Given the conditions, it was impossible to recover any remains. Park spokesperson Carissa Reed later confirmed that the high temperature and acidity had made retrieval efforts futile. Yellowstone National Park is famous for its geothermal features, but they are also among its deadliest attractions. The hot springs, geysers, and steam vents have caused more fatalities than any other natural hazard in the park. Colin's death was the 22nd hot spring-related fatality since the park was established in 1872. The water in these springs is heated by underground magma, often exceeding boiling temperatures. In the Norris Geyser Basin, where Colin fell, the water typically reaches around 199 degrees Fahrenheit. The combination of extreme heat and acidity creates a lethal environment. Visitors are repeatedly warned to stay on the boardwalks, which are in place for safety. However, many underestimate the risks, ignoring signs and stepping onto unstable ground. Tragically, some pay the ultimate price for these choices. Colin Scott was a bright and accomplished young man. A recent college graduate, he had earned high honors at Pacific University and was preparing to start a doctorate program in psychology. He had a deep love for nature and had previously volunteered at the Jackson Bottom Wetlands Preserve, where he educated visitors about wildlife. His passion for the outdoors led him to Yellowstone, but his decision to step off the marked trail led to a tragic end. His family and friends described him as intelligent, kind, and full of potential. His loss was devastating to those who knew him. Yellowstone's safety rules exist for a reason, to protect visitors and the park itself. The ground around thermal areas is often fragile and can collapse under a person's weight. Even standing too close to the edge of a spring can be deadly. Despite continuous warnings, some visitors still disregard the rules, sometimes due to curiosity or underestimating the danger. Illegal activities like hot potting have led to serious injuries and deaths in the past. Colin was not the first to attempt it, but his story is among the most tragic. Following his death, the National Park Service once again urged visitors to respect the rules and remain on designated paths. The warning signs are not suggestions, they are life-saving measures. Colin's story is a painful reminder that nature's beauty often comes with hidden dangers. Yellowstone's geothermal areas are mesmerizing, but they are also unpredictable and unforgiving. A single misstep can have irreversible consequences. While many visit the park to appreciate its wonders, it's crucial to understand and respect its hazards. Staying on the boardwalks, heeding warnings, and following regulations can mean the difference between a memorable trip and a tragic accident. Colin Scott had a promising future ahead of him. His untimely death is a heartbreaking loss, and his story serves as a lesson for anyone visiting Yellowstone. When it comes to nature's power, safety should always come first. It was July 22, 2023, just outside Yellowstone National Park on the Buttermilk Trail in Montana. Amy Adamson, a 47-year-old from Darby, Kansas, set out for her usual morning jog. She had always loved the outdoors. After leaving her teaching job in 2015, she spent years traveling across the U.S., exploring different landscapes. She even wrote a book about her experiences, Walking Out, One Teacher's Reflections on Walking Out of the Classroom to Walk America. That morning, as she ran alone, she had no idea she was near a mother grizzly bear and her cubs. Without realizing it, she startled the bear, setting off a tragic encounter. Around 8 a.m., another hiker discovered Amy's body. Her injuries were severe. Authorities were called immediately, and wildlife officials soon confirmed that a grizzly bear was responsible. Large tracks were found nearby, but the bear itself was not seen. The area is known for its grizzly population, and visitors are regularly warned to take precautions. Over the years, the number of bears in Montana has increased, leading to more encounters with humans. Wildlife experts believe the bear reacted instinctively to protect its cubs. Grizzlies are highly defensive when they sense a threat, and sudden encounters can turn dangerous. Although Amy was an experienced hiker, she was not carrying bear spray, a tool that can stop an attack. Experts strongly recommend it in bear country, as it can provide a critical chance to escape. Without it, she had no way to defend herself. Her mother, Janet Adamson, shared the heartbreaking news online. "This is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to post," she wrote. "Yesterday morning, we lost our beautiful, smart, and talented daughter, Amy." In an interview, she spoke about her daughter's love for nature. "Running through Yellowstone, it was like heaven to her," she said. After the attack, officials launched an investigation. They confirmed that a mother grizzly and her cubs had been near the site, but despite extensive searches, including helicopter sweeps and traps, the bear was never found. As a safety measure, the U.S. Forest Service closed the Buttermilk Trail indefinitely. Authorities urged visitors to stay cautious and follow proper safety measures when exploring bear country. Grizzlies are much larger and more territorial than black bears. When they feel threatened, they often react aggressively. A mother bear protecting her cubs is even more defensive, making sudden encounters extremely dangerous. Amy's passing led to more discussions about hiking safety in bear-populated areas. While such incidents are rare, they have increased as grizzlies become more common near human activity. Wildlife experts emphasize that avoiding sudden encounters is key to staying safe. Some of the most important safety measures include carrying bear spray, hiking in groups, and making noise to alert bears of human presence. Most bears prefer to avoid people, but if startled, they may react out of fear. Taking the right precautions can help prevent these situations from turning deadly. Amy was alone that morning, and despite her experience, she had no warning before the attack. Wildlife officials later confirmed that the bear did not attempt to consume her, indicating it was a defensive attack rather than a predatory one. This is typical bear behavior when they feel their cubs are in danger. Montana's growing grizzly population has created a complicated situation. Conservation efforts have helped the species recover, but this has also led to more human-bear interactions. Authorities acknowledge that while fatal attacks are uncommon, they are becoming more frequent. In fact, just 2 years before Amy's death, another person lost their life in a grizzly encounter near West Yellowstone. As more people venture into nature, the chances of unexpected wildlife encounters increase. Experts stress the importance of preparation and awareness. Nature is beautiful but also unpredictable, and taking the right precautions can make all the difference. In the days after the tragedy, Amy's loved ones mourned her loss. Her mother found comfort in knowing that Amy passed away doing something she loved, exploring the wilderness. She was a free spirit, an adventurer who loved the outdoors, Janet wrote. She died in a place she loved. Amy's story is a reminder of how unpredictable nature can be. While her love for the outdoors was undeniable, her passing highlights the importance of taking every safety measure when exploring the wild. Her legacy lives on, inspiring others to appreciate nature while respecting its risks.